How's everybody doing today? I got a sleeping kit behind me, so if you start to hear a kid crying, I may have to bounce out just for a sec, just to get him out of his car seat. Yeah, he passed out dropping Melissa off of work today. So, yeah, I was like, oh man, nap time's gonna be messed up, but it is what it is. I'm actually shocked he's still asleep, but we'll see. All right, so definitely some confusing news this morning. We were correct yesterday in our belief that the retail sales numbers were going to be a little bit too far extended. They both were. They both missed, right? Um, the forecast of zero point 0.5 on a regular core was only zero point 0.4. The retail sales number overall came in at half what was expected. Now, here's where this data you may say, well, wait a second, why is there not like massive amounts of movement? The problem with this one is there was a previous adjustment. Okay. So you can see last time, right? They thought it was -8 last time, minus zero point 0.8. It was actually minus zero point 0.5. And same thing over here. They thought it was -1. It was actually minus zero point 0.7. So unfortunately, because there was such a big adjustment, these kind of wash each other out. People aren't sure how to quite look at that. Had this been no change, this would have been massive amounts of movement. Okay. Now, as far as starting off early with the pound, you may say, well, why isn't there not a lot of movement in the pound? 13, 8, that's nothing. You're right. Overall, the data was good, but there was also adjustments prior that were the exact opposite. So kind of hard to pull anything. Now, the only one moving really is the CAD, and you can see the CAD CPI. Yeah, expected no change. It actually increased. Now, some of the other data in here, obviously the trim was different, but looking at the common right CPI year on a year basis, it's actually going up, and there was an adjustment last time higher. So there was still a drop, but it's not as much as what the forecast was, and it was starting off a little bit higher than what originally it was thought, right? So there's that, and that's why we're seeing the dollar CAD down about 100 pips, but everything else more or less flat from 24 hours from where we were yesterday. 4, 8, 3, 13, 1, 3, 16. This is like a swing trader's worst nightmare. The fact that everything but one pair in the last 24 hours is basically where it started. So, yeah, um, is what it is. There has been a number of different big headlines, though. You know, Mester, we're still committed, right? Everybody's going to getting back. High inflation has cost over both the short and long term. Price stability is key for the longer run. Lower neutral interest rate could return, right? So again, a little data out of there. What was this one? Let's see. Industrial production edges past forecast in April driven by manufacturing. Yeah. Okay. What did Holston? Look at the ECB. I would have preferred a 50 basis in May, right? We shouldn't pause until we reach 4%. Bigger rate hikes are appropriate to reach the peak. So again, we've seen Holzman speak before. He's like the Bullard, right? Yeah, he's that guy. He's the more aggressive guy. Biden going into G7 with that limit on SOB. Now, there was a lot of, I mean, again, yesterday the markets had a bit of the positivity was coming out of the belief that there was going to be a deal struck. And it's always funny. The president was like, yeah, I'm confident we got a deal. We're there. And then the other side of the aisle was like, we're not even close, right? We're not even close. So where the truth is, probably somewhere in the middle. Um, Interesting kind of debate going back and forth on that one. Um, Besides that, not a lot, right? So we're preparing for the next 24 hours. So this wage price index is going to be the next big number to drop for Australia tonight. Right now, there's not a big driving factor. Again, 0 and 24 hours. So the wage price index, again, expected to tick up a little bit. Again, remember Australia already paused. Again, question is now, will they have the game plan for everybody else? Will the CAD have to raise again because things are going back up again, right? Not, you know, a pause there is not helping. It's continuing to increase. So we'll see. But I think this quarterly basis wage price increase tonight could be a nice little trading, especially if we don't really have a lot today, right? Going in tomorrow morning, Bailey speaking early, and then it's kind of a quiet day until we get to the unemployment numbers for Australia. So Again, 2 nights in a row with red data for Australia. Red meaning like high importance, not red meaning like, bad data. That's not what I'm saying. Um, but besides that, again, rather quiet day tomorrow for the US. So a lot of headlines back and forth. We'll see kind of where it goes. Overall, I want to see how the indices really absorb this data with retail sales. Does it change the Fed's opinion? Maybe a little bit, but I think this goes more towards the data we saw today. I think this goes more towards the idea of, you know, is there actually going to be a recession? Right now, the fear is, there's not. Paul Tudor Jones yesterday said that the Fed is done. He made a comment that the Fed is done. Right, the Fed will not raise interest rates anymore. Um, that they're done, which I thought was a quite an interesting stance because I feel like there's at least one more. Um, but he said that the Fed is done, but also at the same time that he sees a recession probably third or fourth quarter coming in. Which right now it seems like the stance is that the Fed's not done, and we're going to avoid recession, right? So a little bit different of a read than okay. He's just making noise. I was like, oh God, is he awake? Um, so a little bit different of a read, right, than what the general consensus is. Um, but again, he believes that they are done. So we will see how the market takes it today, based on what Paul Tudor Jones is saying. Now the VIX shows that it's up a little bit, but is it really? Eh, not from yesterday's peak. Came down. There was a little bit of a gap in the overnight, and it kind of creeped up a little bit in anticipation for what we were going to get today. But is that something that is, earth-shatteringly different? Not really. Right? I'm okay with this. You're seeing right now that the indices minus NQ are down. And again, some of that is being helped by Apple, right? Um, I think they're where they should be. I think at this point, um, I think retail sales going forward is more important than the inflation numbers right now. Home Depot, if you guys didn't hear, Home Depot missed their earnings yesterday and adjusted their yearly forecast and said that people are starting to change their spending habits. They're pulling back, which again, you think first quarter, and again, I guess first quarter is not really the big deal. I guess second quarter is the biggest one um, for Home Depot. We're all like where we're at right now, basically, right? Um, Dealing with you know, gardening stuff. It's getting warm. So first quarter's not as bad, but they did say that they are seeing habits changing in the spender, which I think is kind of where that retail sales number comes from. But at the same time, kind of shows you the fear of what's happening in the future. The dollar, is it much changed? Nah, not really. We talked about, yet on Sunday night and we kind of pushed down and then we hit one and we hit two and we hit three and we started the base through the 61 and our 23.6 and then we kind of drove in and then kind of ran into this little area right here and then pulled back up and the news kind of gave us a little bit of a whip back and forth and we're pushing lower. And I mean, if you think about where the data is right now, again, is it the primary function of what the Fed is looking at? No, no, but it definitely looks of where the consumer is and where the future is going to be. It is obviously lagging because it's the sales that have just happened, but at the same time, is it showing us kind of a leading indicator of where people are they going to continue spending or not? I think probably more so than the inflationary number. So that would feel like it'll hold water. What they do today, I think, is going to be the big question. I think overall, the reality is having somebody like Home Depot miss and changing and downgrading their earnings for the year, and then seeing the retail sales numbers. Yes, I know that they were off. There was the adjustments, which make it confusing, but I feel like the market was just a little bit, I don't know, a little bit overzealous in that in kind of the push that they did. So I think overall they deserve today being more in the red. And again, being led by the Russell. Now, dollar is basically flat. It's down a little bit. Now, commodities, oil back down at that 71.60, I think is good. Natural gas up again. Now, yesterday we talked about, the reason why I was originally surging. That being because, they were taking some rigs offline because the demand was low and forecasting. And um, if you think about where we are now, it's like, hey, we're potentially going to go in a recession if people are not spending. And, there is some gloom and doom coming. Will that lower demand, right? Again, back up at 245, up 3% again today. It's a little bit crazy, right? A little bit crazy. So, be cautious with that one. Gold and silver. both confused. Gold is down back down to 208, which makes sense. 209ish, right? It's down 0.33. Silver is up just slightly. We talked about getting bearish from both these positions. They both pulled back down. The 24 mark seems to be the sticking point for silver right now. And again, remember, gold yesterday was at like 220 or something like that. We were looking for that to pull back down again. It's down about $7, and you're seeing silver starting to accelerate as well. Again, I don't think it changes that too much, but again, if there is recession looming, that is something that the Fed is trying to avoid. And I think gold is getting back to where it should, and I think silver at 24 is where it belongs right now, without any substantial kind of big hard facts of what's happening with raises next. So I think that's where it's supposed to be. Looking at the Aussie dollar, so you can see, funny enough, you're seeing a pop in this one. We knew the data was coming in right here. What did the data do? It drove right down, and funny enough, here, I'll remove this, but it was actually sitting inside of a small level. Now, is this a tradable level? Yeah, you could trade it. I mean, it was okay. Is the data like substantial data that this is a home run grand slam? Not really. I mean, it's 7 pips. You needed there's 3 right there, so it didn't quite get there. And the reality is it's going to probably have a little bit difficult of a time coming through, right? We had marked off the old Harry Potter levels, and obviously there's a drop and a base and a nice push away, and you can see it was confirmed right there. So I mean, we could adjust this to here, and that's exactly what it's running into. So did it have the 1 to 3? No. Did it spend the hour and a half, 2 hours beforehand pulling down into a level? Yeah, it did. Right, it did. Will it continue to push? It's gonna try. It's gonna try. Um, I think it's if you're in this trade, again, stop loss to break even, maybe bank a couple pips on there. It wasn't a big mover anyway. You're talking about like 7.7 or 8 for like 24, 25 in the other direction. So it wasn't big, and it had a zone up here. So, is it the best trade setup? Not really. It's not the highest quality. But it is, it could have been one. Right now, you're up. It's up like 15. Excuse me. It's all right. Like I said, with buyers up top, not even a 1 to 3 there, kind of a risky news based trade. But again, news based trade nonetheless. Okay. We still have the 2 private targets lower. Really until we get down there. It's, nothing is super exciting on this one. And this top level up here, I mean, I'll extend it across, right? It's from there. You can see at this point, there's a little bit of a Harry Potter. I would say adjust this higher. And all this is bringing it back up to kind of this old level. We know that we have clearing till here. Um, put a long position in when this does, if this does continue to rally higher. It's only about 8 pips worth of risk, so it doesn't require a lot of movement to have a 1 to 3 in the other direction. But you're looking at right about there, which is right where, again, profit taking will come in. So it's there. 1, 2, 3, 4, broke, just kind of barely pinched above the top. There would be the next level where I'd say, hey, listen, I'm not interested in playing with this one. A break above 67.09 would be where I look to go long again on that one. And then downside, again, we know what the levels we have down here. This one has been kind of breached. It could potentially be a new bottom, but we're still waiting for the 67.28 number right there. Okay, so kind of in the middle of the range here, but long here. I'll change this one to long just so people are like, wait, what? What do we do with the yellow? Right there. 67.10 just to make it easy, right? And we're taking over this big racetrack here. Aussie yen. All right, so Aussie yen, we did not get an entry. We were looking for a Harry Potter. We are looking for some basing, and the basing really didn't come in. It sliced right through and then based lower and then popped, and then sliced right through into the same level. So at this point, we know that the kind of buyers in this area are probably gone. And now at this point, it adjusts more towards a basing level here. Now, here's the problem with this one. We can move it down. We don't have an entry on it yet. The problem is now there is this little hiccup in here that's only about a 1 to 1 away. This is an 8 for 25. We have rallied all the way back up, but I'll tell you right now. Right now, this is what we're sitting in, and we're kind of hitting a little bit of a level right there up top. Again, it was a base, a confirmation at 10 o'clock last night, and now you're seeing it pull around. When it does come back down, if we get any type of base or indication of basing in here, then yes, I think pulling the trigger makes sense. It may use this level to bounce off of, so it may come down and use that level. Oops. And use that to base off of, right? This could be what it is. But right now, profit taking wouldn't come in until about here. Okay. So overall, that's where we're at. If you're not already in this one, it's a little bit late. Yeah, you're already 20 pips into profit. But again, a nice little, again, decent candle. Facing below, I don't love, but when it came up and then it did this little pattern right here, straight to the downside, that's a pretty decent. It's a pretty decent sign that hey, listen, there's probably shorts in there. And it's about probably got a little bit longer to go before 1 to 3 kicks in. Okay. But that was a decent little, again, strong push up. How far was it? Yeah, 66 pips. So again, double a 4 hour ATR. Not quite at a daily. The daily's at 103. But again, decent level here, right? This, boom, right to the downside. So good level. And again, this would have been a 9:30 kind of session roll open. Okay. Euro dollar. And we talked about profit targets coming at 108.96, and you can see it went to 109, went just slightly past it, but there's all the basing, right in here, as well as where the 23.6 was at. We marked the level off and said this is where it probably is going to be, and it did. Not a lot of movement. You can see right here, this little green candle up and down was really where the news came out, and unfortunately, the news doesn't really tell us much. There was an adjustment higher, and then the number came in lower, so you know always makes it weird. It doesn't really give it a true confirmation signal of where it should be. Um, right now, I would say, my thinking on this one is probably more neutral to sideways, right? Obviously, we have buyers being established here, right? A touch, a touch, a touch, a touch, all down here at 108.76. But at the same time, we knew we had this level right here, right? This level right here of basing, and that's exactly what we bounced off of to push down. So we're kind of stuck in between a rock and a hard place, and there's buyers and sellers, and it's only about a 35 pip range on there. The daily ATR on this one is down to 78. The 4 hour is only 24 pips. And really, what direction are we in right now? Nothing really, right? Since yesterday, I mean, here's Monday at 4 o'clock in the morning. We're in the same level, and it's just sideways. And again, the accompanying 24-hour pip change is 5 pips. So really, it's just more sideways right now, grindy. Um, I guess if you really wanted to find a level to short on this one, I think 109.05 probably makes the most sense. Is it the best of entries? I mean, the 23s have already triggered once. There is obviously that basing, that drop, that basing, and then the punch down again. So it's kind of it's a combination of sources. Um, eh, it's all right, right? Um, I think it has the room to run back down to this level if it does come back up. But right now, we're really playing with not a lot of trend, right? More sideways movement, and we want to play the trending markets, right? Trending or reversals, and it's not really great, right? Not really great. Can't force it when it's not there. Euro pound. So euro pound, you can see at 2 o'clock, magically took this big punch up, right? Why did it do that? Well, this data was crappy, right? This data was crappy. But then at 5 o'clock, then Germany got really crappy data. So it shot up, and then at 5 o'clock it was right here. Oh, sorry, right here. Then it started to reverse a little and continue down. So again, parabolic move. Um, there's your levels right here. Again, straight up, parabolic retracement. Trade's done. I can't really. There's nothing I can do for it right now. It's a decent mover though. But again, this level's only 5 pips. But it ran about 25, 30 pips of that to the downside. So we're still sitting in the middle. We can take this profit target out. We didn't hit the 78, but it got close enough. So I'm gonna pull the 78. Let's see. Let's pull it from the top. You can see the 23 did not do pulled all the way off again. So let's mark 78 was here. So the 78 is getting blasted in both corners. So there's really not much you can do with this one right now. You could argue that there's probably buyers in here, and I would say that probably some, but again, being the euro pound, I'm not. We're down to a 44 pip ATR, 14 pips in 4 hours. So this spike here was two ATRs. Right there was two ATRs. Right, two 4 hour ATRs in 30 minutes. So again, parabolic move, it's done. There's nothing I can give you on this one. This one is more like this right now, right? So not much, not much on that one. And even using it as a proxy, um, feel like it is more on the bottom side of things. Obviously, the lower end of the curve, but unfortunately, this is not a great level, nor is this, right? I wish there was more in there. There's just not. So Yes, more sideways movement. That could be. Hmm. That actually may not be horrible. That may not be bad, right? Bailey speaking in an annual conference, talking about what they're potentially going to do. Maybe give us a little foreshadow. It's the biggest news release we got for it. Again, seeing all the strength come back in, maybe something. I don't know. We're gonna have to get to the U.S. session right now. Unfortunately, there's no levels I'd be willing to really kind of grab at this one. The best one would be 87.29. It's been there before, but that's it's an entire day's worth of moving away. So I don't know. Maybe we just get really, really strong euro right now and rally back tomorrow. I don't know. Right now, it's gotta go a long ways. Um, so not a lot of setup there. Euro yen. All right, so euro yen basically sideways from yesterday. We were sitting right here yesterday. You can see we're a little bit above it and pulling back. We mentioned this one. There's no difference from what it was yesterday. There's two levels. There's one a little bit more aggressive at 148.50, and then a little bit more conservative, one of 148.61. Sorry, I'm moving this to 61. So again, depending if you want to be more aggressive, more conservative, it'd be nice if it was all the way green up and didn't start the base. The way this is looking right now, it may start to slow down here around 148.40 until it gets back up there. There's not really much to do with it. So again, it's the same assessment as yesterday. It did nothing, and we're just slightly higher than where we were. So not too much there. Um, this is great. I love this one. I'll continue this across. We talked about getting some basing in here. We did. It's awesome. We got some basing. We got the parabolic move up from the news, the red, green, red trigger back down again, and then we tested it one more time. So love this one even more. The alert is still live. We're looking for this to break through, getting dollar weakness and pound strength. And I even said it yesterday. If it hits one more time, I'm good with that. So 1, 2, basing 3 right there. Again, we're hitting number 4. We have the basing. It's pushed it to the brink. It did not trigger the alarm, which is awesome, right? The alert did not trigger. So next time it comes up, and again, we had a quick spike in there, but again, looking for this to go long. So again, make sure you have your alerts at 125.46 up to 125.80 is where this one is looking to go. All right. Yeah, I like that one. Bottom side, I'm not in love with, but yeah, I like that one long. Okay. And again, could Bailey send this through the roof? Sure. Sure. Absolutely could. Um, Particularly with the retail sales number being so bad. All right, pound. All right, so that's kind of what we're looking at right now. Now let's see. We talked about this one coming just a bit higher, and you can see it. It kind of fell away, mirror bottom, then they came back up and touched it again. We were looking for 177, 74. Yesterday at 1 o'clock, it kind of turned on us, and it kind of front. And this is that it looks very similar to the euro yen, where there was a new kind of level established when it went up in base and then launched off. If you would have taken that little aggressive entry, this one would have worked out just fine for you. This morning, it did hit. Let's see. Yeah, that's kind of where it's at right now. You can see about 2/3 of the way through. So, yeah, I mean, it was target first. It was target first. So again, the aggressive entry sometimes works better. Right now, again, high on the curve, pound yen. We're seeing pound kind of rallying a few different pairs. Um, you know, again, the data today was okay. We'll see. Again, depending on what happens in the next, 20 hours, um, we should see where this goes for Bailey speaking. But if it does continue to reverse and roll back down again, I wouldn't be surprised. Let's see, we're past the 78. Let me delete this. Let's throw this on. Look at that. See, that's painful because look at this. Sliced right through the 23 and then used it. Uh, You know, I'm looking at this one here. How big is it? 25 is not huge on this pair, but it's still more than I typically like to take. Um, hmm, down there either. I like these. I like one of these. This zone is just a little bit big for what I'm willing to take. I like that this one is hit. Again, we talked about being short here, and again, you're already up, 40 something pips on there. We were looking for it here and ended up using this one. Again, I'd like this to go up and start forming a base, finding a decent top in there. The aggressive entry here and the red, green, red would have been where you're looking to pull the trigger on this one, and it was a big move. We're kind of looking for that scenario again. I think the 171.55 up here is decent. This is an okay zone. It's a little bit big. And again, it's going to have to break through. It should be able, if it comes back up, it should be able to break through again. Um, but again, it's going to have to survive this reversal time, right? We've been really rallying straight up, and it's 10:02 right now. We're coming into a time where reversals will start to roll in, right, as profit taking comes in because it's basically been. Well, I guess it was straight down, parabolic move down, parabolic move straight up, and now we have the U.S. data. So we should see a U.S. profit taking session come in here. Um, wonder if it's going to be up here. 15, it's better. Let's see what it does there. Oops. Definitely cannot see yellow and white. So, yeah. I mean, it's potential. I like the 171.55 better, but it's a decent level. And again, it's based off a 15-minute now, just so if you're wondering why I'm cutting through there. So, yeah. What do we got here? Guess it's point 7. Hmm. Second one. Yeah. I mean, I would say look for a reversal. I'm kind of torn between which one I like better. I think the 171.05 could be, I'm sorry, the 171.01 could be definitely a reversal. I like the 171.55 better. Obviously, we're coming out of this, but at this point, we've already kind of tagged it enough. We wouldn't want to use it again. Yeah, if we coincide with news, I think that makes the most sense. So, but again, wait for the confirmation. Look for the red, green, red confirmation. Dollar CAD. There's a little Harry Potter with Dollar CAD. And an easy 10 for 30. You guys know how much I love 10 for 30s. So yesterday we were sitting right here, right here, and we talked about we needed to find the basing. It came down and it started the base, and then kind of popped up and went right back down into that same inside candle. And there's your base. There's your base. There's your base. There's your base. And it popped up again. And you could have looked at this and said, okay, wait, I'm looking for a pullback. And you could have said, all right, I'm going to take it short from there. And you would have not been wrong, right? You would have not been wrong if you had played it from here to here. Now, it was a little bit higher than the 30 or the 23, but people would have looked at that one, right? Let's see if that coincided, but it does not. So I'll delete it off. But here was the base for the Harry Potter. This what this original setup was for. Okay. Had you got into here, you're obviously out. If you didn't, there was your drop. There was your base below, and there was a second base. And you can see drop, base, pullback. Again, that common pattern that we talk about. The reason we call it Harry Potter is because it forms a lightning bolt, right? Right. It forms a lightning bolt. That's what we're looking for. Drop, base, pullback. It actually based in there again, and then boom, went past the profit target. It didn't quite make it. Oh, actually, it did make it down to the lower level. but it blew through the profit target. So this one is out. This was a pretty easy 10 for 30. And again, Harry Potters are not really news based, but it had basically set the entire trade up, and then the news just drove it where it was moving to anyway. So it turned out to be a nice little trade. Again, I love 10 for 30s are my favorite ones out there. I know some people are like, I like the 100 pip ones. I'm like, yeah, I'm fine with the 30s. I like the 10 for 30s. Um, you're the right, you're the right quick or wrong quick. Um, but it's done. It bounced. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if there's just a little bit of profit taking it and just go a little bit higher. It's an okay level. Not necessarily the reversal based level that I'd be looking for, but I'm gonna pull some of these off. We'll leave that one there now. Let's pull this. Take this pattern off. There we go. So yeah, again, alert triggered, drop, base through, pulled back, started the entry, and then again, news helped it get to full fruition. So again, trades out, nothing else I can really tell you on that one. That was a yesterday based setup. So pretty nice, pretty nice. Dollar Swiss. So funny, I drew this down and said, hey, listen, it would be great if we were down there for news. I drew this a little bit off. And the funny part was we talked about it going, it did the exact opposite. We talked about driving down. It drove up and then down and then right back up again. So kind of funny how that worked. I almost got it right, right? I was like, here, go down and then pop. This is actually off a little bit, but it did this, right? But pretty close, right? Pretty close. Now, we're back up where sellers are. I think this area right here, again, there are sellers here. There is some profit taking coming in. So will the next leg come in? Sure. I think we're right there. Again, we've gotten the dollar strength up. We've seen dollar weakness in other trades. There are sellers. It's been here twice. Not the worst of trades, though. Not the worst of trades. And I think it kind of turned, again, it stabilized itself in red, green, red. Green, red, green, sorry. And yeah, I'd be looking for a reversal. Is it my favorite of levels? No, because it has been here twice, but I think it's a decent level. Again, this is hit. This is out. And again, this just shows you how much movement there is with news. Let's see, get this one ready for when we finally do break through. Let's go there. We've not hit the 78, but I'm gonna pull it now so I can get a re on this side. Yeah, look. Now it's a 61.8. So it wasn't before this, right? You can see right here, this was the low, nothing. It was a supply zone. Nothing, supply zone. Now it's a 61.8. Oh, it's only 5 pips. So it's kind of too small for a zone, but if it was bigger, that would be a decent one. But I would say there's a potential reversal. We'll see how far this one runs. Again, kind of the same scenario, right? It's 10:09. It's a reversal time. Since about 7 o'clock this morning, this one has rallied about 34 pips. So it's 1.5 times the 4-hour ATR. Not remotely close to its daily at 71. So yeah, there's been sellers there. Sellers there in the past. And it is a 61.8 now. So you'll have those people artificially getting in there. So maybe something for reversal. You can drop it to a lower time frame, see if you can get a red, green, red confirmation of that supply zone, and then run it right back down again. Look for profit taking to come in, probably down there. Okay. Now, this looks like a gigantic move. It's 25 pips. So it's not as big as it looks like. I mean, this is kind of more like this, right? It's not as big of a move. This was kind of just so we can see the candles better. It's not that explosive. It's more looking like that. So yeah, just keep that on your radar, right? But if it reverses here, would not be surprised at all. Sellers has been here twice. It's about to run into them. We're about to run into 10:30. This is where profit taking would come in at, but it's nothing super extended. Dollar yen. So I'm happy about this one. I mentioned, hey, listen, if we can get some basing right above, that would be great. If we don't hit it, this is great. It did go a little bit lower, right? We did hit it, and then guess what? We hit it again and didn't break, which is awesome. So now I'm a big fan of this one. This is one of those ones now with being earlier in the week. I'm actually going to throw it on here. Right. I'm good with this one now. I love that we have the basing. And again, I'm trying to get a little bit extra of a benefit over here. This is 15 for 45. I think this is a decent roll. I love the fact that we hit it and based again and then hit it again and went higher. I think that is great. So when that one occurs next time, we're looking for shorts here. And then on the top side, we said, hey, listen, we got a little bit of again, an area of selling, right? It wasn't old Harry Potter, right? So could you use it for a short? You could, but we were talking about it really blazing through the top side of that one, right? But that's where we're looking at right now. If it goes straight up in green, this is more of a red based trade, right? Because we're kind of overextended at this point. We've rallied up 76 pips. 100 is right here. The daily ATR is 124. But if we just head straight up green, there will need to be profit taking. And yes, there is sells in here, right? There are selling in here. But ideally, when this one breaks through the top side, though, when it does finally break through, we are looking for this to be an actual long trade because this is what we're dealing with right here, right? We are dealing with 80 pips worth of no candles, no pullbacks. All right. But honestly, right now, if it's just green, 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 I wouldn't be surprised if you get like a 130 ish reverse back to the downside for today, as well as when it does finally collapse and break down again, as we push back down. The next time we make a drive down to 135, 135.59 right here, 135.60, just to make it a little easy, right there. So not too bad. All right. So two shorts in those. Look at Bitcoin down at below 27 again. All right, oil. All right, so oil. I think this is great. Hit it once, front run again, hit it again. We were talking about a breakthrough 71.88 coming up to 72.24. I will take these extra pieces all over the place. Yesterday we talked about, hey, the 50% is obviously going to be some selling. Well, it tagged it at 12:30 in the afternoon, and it did. It pulled right back down again, and you can see it based through. But 12:30 and hit the 50%. We said it was a very technical market. Boom, short came right out of that one. So kind of did what we expected. Now with it hitting here, kind of getting front run again. We got 1, 2, 3, and this is technically 4. I like this one. I think the setup's pretty decent. 71.88 to 72.40. But not much else to say. We're kind of in the same spot. It just gave us 2 more confirmations that there was sellers. But as soon as those sellers collapse, the buyer should step in there and we push up. I did see an article that Biden has authorized the purchase of 3 million barrels of oil to start refilling the strategic oil reserve. So I was kind of wondering what the price would look like if that news article is out there. They already own it. But if that had anything to do with kind of the price movement we've seen the last couple of days, if it was I don't want to say the rumor, but because like I said, something along those lines, there's going to be a lot of people that know it, right? A lot of people that know it. So it'd be nice if it was down at 60 when we were, we're repairing that versus 70, but I guess it could be 90, so it's not the end of the world. Now, natural gas. Look at this one again. 8 o'clock this morning, just takes off. Look, the expectations of lower supply, right? Because again, they turned the rigs off, but now with price rallying higher, they'll probably turn the rigs back on again. So we were looking for something here at the 78. It was a decent level, right? It based and it hit it again and hit it again. This was hit number 3, and it just sliced through number 3 like butter, right? So right now, we don't really have anything. We know what we're working with up here. We don't really have much. And again, we're past the 78, so we can pull this. We don't have anything beyond this. We knew that this was going to be a little racetrack here up until 252. Now, I don't want to see 252. But the reality is there's no selling right now in there. I'll pull that because again, I guess it could Harry Potter off. You know what? We'll leave it there. Oops. It's not going to even be back in. It could absolutely Harry Potter off that level. So yeah. Millie, don't bark and wake up, Kip. She's gonna bark and wake up, Kip. Yeah. So I hate to be the bearer of bad news there. This one's got some more room to run, and I don't want it to go there, but racetrack. So yeah, yeah. All right, gold. All right, so gold. We said again and again, it pushed down, gave us the pop, and is now dropping. We were actually looking for a pretty big dollar weakness based trade today. Unfortunately, the data wasn't sufficient enough. You can see that it drove all the way down lower yesterday. We kind of had this push up and then just started to deteriorate. 3 o'clock this morning, boom, it started to push down. It drove down before the news. The news drove it back up again, and then it came right back down again. So again, I think 2000 is the target for today. I would leave this level in gold because once the Fed does start slowing things down, and look, you can see that candle, look, it drove right down and then take off. I think it's a decent one. When it comes up next time, there is a racetrack in here. There's no way to change this. It's undeniable that it's there. So break above 2022. I would love it if I was wrong and we never get back up to 20,000 or 2022. I don't think that's an acceptable number. But again, we talked about again, this level's been kind of hammered left and right, and that there would be a nice little trade setup today. It was okay, right? A little bit hard to find a bottom zone. If you did pull a bottom zone, it would have been here, and that's exactly what it bounced off of to go higher. So again, that's why I constantly talk about how important it is to look at what happens the couple of hours before the news. It literally drove it straight down, right? Straight down into that zone. News came out, popped it right up, and then turned in reverse. Because everybody sees that. It's like, oh my God, it's so weak, sell it. But what's happening is they're trying to go long gold, and now they're getting stopped out on the downside. Why? Because they positioned it ahead of time. They dropped the price lower. They bought it, and then the news came out, and then it spiked. So everybody sees that. It's like, oh, this is weak for the dollar. Yeah, better buy some gold. And then that's why it's reversing back down again. So understand, all this is manipulation. Right. Silver. Silver, not doing much. But look, remember we talked about these two time frames? What did it do? It drove right into that zone. And it's funny. There's the zone we talked about. There's where the zone actually should have been. Because again, it kind of adjusted down a little bit in these early morning hours. We would have just adjusted. But what did it do? From the European Open to where the news came out, it drove it straight back into that zone. Right? Straight back into that zone. And this is what it looked like. Right there. And 1 to 3 is right there. So you can see it peaked its head out the top. But again, why we say that these markets are absolutely 100% manipulated. Let's drop the price to buy it. So the news comes out. So people are like, yeah, buy silver, weak dollar. And then they buy it. And what happens? It starts in tears and pushes all the way back down again. So, but we are officially at 23.88. This is pulling away from 24. We'll see if we can break through the zone here. A lot of people look at this and say, wait a second, is there a racetrack here? The hard part of it is this level is at 23.67. So 23.67 is right here. There's a little bit of a hiccup right here. I'm sorry, right here, right below at about 10 cents. So it doesn't quite qualify for a racetrack for me. I know that when you see 3 like this, that's the first thing you're thinking, and you absolutely should. But remember, you got to have room to run to the downside. Typically, we're looking for a racetrack, something along the lines of this, where there's big candles with nobody slowing it down. We don't have that here. So it doesn't quite qualify. But again, very, very easy news-based trade setup. Drove it straight down into a level. Here's the overnight basing on there. Look, up, straight down, and then news, boom, 1 to 3 right at the top. So very, very quick base trade. Okay. Trying to see if this is going to deteriorate back down. But you're seeing the silver kind of deteriorate more. So let's see. Yeah, VIX is it's creeping up a little bit. Dollar going up a little bit. Not crazy. Let's see, was there any other headlines? All right, let's see. What do we got opening print wise? Probably not a lot based off the news that was out. Actually, it wasn't bad. Look, there's your overnight base, right? There's your confirmation touch. There's your 8:30 news. So again, whether you use this one, this confirmation, or that confirmation, there's your 9:45. There's your 9:30 candle right there. So yeah, I was afraid it's gonna be too volatile, but nope. And I can't put on the top. Again, 4 o'clock. There's your base. There's your confirmation, right? Your base, your confirmation, a little bit of a second confirmation, but there you go. Straight up, grabbed it, boom. So yes, 1 for 1, 100% rate so far. NQ. All right, so NQ, kind of same spot. Uh, Unfortunately, this one hit at 9:30 and dropped all the way down to here. Uh, there's a zone there, but it's not a great zone. It's 7:30 yesterday. So yeah, unfortunately, at 8:45 we were sitting down here. It's in a zone. Could I cherry pick this one and say, "Hey, look, it worked. Look, there's your 9:15. It's red and green." Yeah, not really. I mean, this was a zone from yesterday morning. It was a double bottom, like kind of one of those like mirror bottom kind of looks to it. Not my favorite type setup, and the fact that it was yesterday and there was no confirmation. The overnight shows that nobody's really looking at the level. The 8:30 kind of using this side, yeah, that's more of a news based trade. When it was 8:30 here, I mean, there's your base, your pullback, your confirmation. So yeah, there's a news short in there, which you could have grabbed. Again, 8:30 news short, not opening print. Opening print is here. Yeah, it went off another level, and again, it just shows you how well supply and demand works, but not really kind of what we're looking for. Opening prints, I would say, not an entry, but absolutely, you could have taken the news trade here, or you could have taken the news spike down into the reversal level from yesterday. So you could have got into it, but it's not going into the statistics for the opening print. YM looks like it'd be the same exact scenario. Yeah, 9:15 pulled up. No, unfortunately not. 5:30. Yeah, look at the 8:30. Nothing. Yeah, it gave us the green ahead of time, showing us it was going to be a red, but it's not pulling up to a level, so there's nothing there. There's nothing infirmed on the size as well. So, yeah, YM is not nothing in that one. And let's see, Russell. Can't look. We're calling for a Harry Potter through there, and it looked it based again, it based again, it based again. This was yesterday morning's trade. You can see it went all the way through. It was out. Let's pull this. That's 8:30. Honestly, this one wouldn't have triggered either. Right? It did this level, but no. 9:15 was here. It's not another level. This is not. You're not using a level like that. Sorry. So yeah, it looks like ES. ES was the one and only. Right. ES was the one and only today. Nice little opening print though. Nice little opening print. So yeah, unfortunately, data like this is really going to throw people off. Right. They're going to see these red, be like, oh my god. And yeah, I thought it was overzealous, and I thought they just, the markets deserved to be red today. The adjustments aren't horrible, but I thought that these numbers were way too high, and that's how they came out. It's really a shame because this would have been great news data, had we not had the kind of adjustment to the green side. If it would have been red also, and then this was red, that'd have been decent. But again, green red with the adjustments. Again, we were right on these. We actually said it was going to be what, point 2, point 3. And then we said like 0.5. So the 0.4 was better. So I missed by a point 0.1 on both sides. So yeah, not horrible. Look at that. Spike up, right back down. This is the exact opposite. So funny how that works out. So all right, let's go ahead and do the giveaway. All right. So yesterday, it was who? It was Will yesterday, right? It was Will. So I'll give you guys till 3. Oh, excuse me. Ugh. Keeps waking up at 6. I'm just like, oh. Yeah, we'll give it till 3. Looks like somebody not being here can't repeat if you're not here, right? Can't win if you're not playing the game. Just saying. So it'll be a new person today. All right, 10 more seconds. Unless he tries to like scalp it at the last minute, pulls an earnest and gets in there at the last possible second. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Look at that right on. All right. Ernest is like, you know what? If it's going to be cheap, I'm going to take it. All right, here we go. Let's see if it works. Winner of today's drawing is 44.44% chance. There we go. Ernest saw it was cheap and is like, I'll take it. I'll take it for the cheap because I can parlay it into tomorrow. Right? I know how you're thinking. I know what you're doing. I know what you're thinking. You're like, hey, you know what? Because that means tomorrow I can go for 100. I'm sorry, yeah, 100. So yeah, it's in there. All right. So again, hopefully we get more of a movement. Look at this. 4, 9, and look, red and green. 23, 10, 59. This one's retracing back. 21, 3, 16. Wah, wah, wah. It's just one of those days. There's been some decent setups, but again, swing trader's nightmare right now. So if you were a swing trader, I'm sorry. It is just not the market for you right now. So I don't know. It's definitely an intraday trader's market, right? Swings one way, 60 pips, and then swings right back at the end of the day. So with that, I am out of here. I will catch you guys tomorrow morning, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. We'll see you guys then. Have a good trading day. Be safe. Take care, and I'll catch you later.